Okay, so for today, I'll be presenting about DeFi Land. So that's a topic for the case study. And what is DeFi Land? So DeFi Land is basically a free-to-play game that looks to educate its users through a gamified DeFi platform. It integrates existing DeFi protocols within its ecosystem just because of its main focus of education. And it's looking to expand to a multi-chain gamified asset management protocol where it's not just based on one blockchain but across multiple chains so everyone could have access to this protocol. So a high level token summary of the main token inside DeFi Land. So it's the DFL token, and that's their governance token inside their ecosystem. It's acquired by purchasing it through a DEX, by renting out or trading your NFTs to the marketplace, and it's capped at a total of 10 million in the whole economy or in circulation. Its main utility comes from basically governance capabilities, which will come in the future. It has staking features mainly because it's also a DeFi protocol in and itself, and some in-game usage as mainly an input for crafting mechanisms within the ecosystem. In terms of market design, right now it's built on the Solana platform to leverage on low transaction fees and fast processing. But like I mentioned earlier, it looks to be implemented on a multi-chain integration. So that integration can also be used for to leverage on the different transaction fees and processing or the different strengths of the different blockchains available or they're looking into penetrating. So there are also certain player archetypes within the game. So first one, it's the killer archetype, which is not your common, not the common killer archetype you see in most games, because here the players are actually competing against each other through the leaderboards, or when multiplayer land comes out through the different mini games that the players are interacting with in this ecosystem. The main player type here is basically the achievers because there are certain achievements or quests that are a big part of the protocol. And this is one major factor that will drive and attract the achiever player type into playing this game. There's also a socializer aspect because eventually they will roll out a multiplayer LAN and a faction ecosystem where and also a referral system. So that's a main driver to interact with other players and to form connections with other users within the protocol. And that's a feature that's gonna be also built inside the gaming ecosystem. Lastly is the miners. Though miners here are looking to continuously play mini games in order to farm and sell the resources that are produced by playing these mini games. So how do you actually play DeFi Land? So basically, there's a free-to-play aspect where the players can play the mini games in order to earn XP to level up their account and compete on the leaderboards for certain rewards that are given to the top players with the highest XPs. There's also, of course, a play turn aspect, which is wrapped around the whole DeFi protocol aspect of the game. So first, the fictional layer is that buildings are basically DeFi protocols in itself, where your house is how you monitor your portfolio inside the ecosystem. The market is mainly your decentralized exchange, so that's where you swap tokens or assets with each other. There's what they call a seed lab, and this is where you would put two tokens and basically get your liquidity position from. And the LP provision basically are seeds that you plant, and you plant them in the farm, and that is considered your basically LP staking. So they look to gamify that whole investment or decentralized financial ecosystem in a farming game. But they also have mini games which you can access the earning aspect through NFTs by owning NFTs. So the mini games are mainly fishing, hunting, and racing games. So these tools are NFTs that you can craft, that you can upgrade in order to yield more rewards, but they will also be needing repair as you use it. There's also the idle game where you raise your chickens, you raise your cows, and these are upgradable so that you can earn more rewards like like milk or like eggs, and these rewards are used to craft food or consumables that expand how many games you could play, because there's also an energy system that limits the overall number of games that you could play. In terms of the token aspect to it, so a big chunk of it, or 41%, would go to the game or staking rewards, basically to infuse the ecosystem with DFL tokens and incentivize staking as well. The next biggest chunk, of course, goes to the team and advisors, while a similar goes to the initial seed investors. So in terms of valuing the token, I think that the demand will be mainly driven by how lucrative the staking rewards will be, because the token is a staking token in itself. It also depends on speculation on the future of the game and in-game uses of how the DFL token will be used, or how much of the token will be used for an input to crafting. Some risks that I see, that mainly it is really a large DeFi protocol covered in a farming gaming fictional wrapper. So having a core gameplay that players will basically be attracted to come back and playing, because if it's a DeFi protocol, basically players will just use it when they need to. But if you have that form gameplay, which the team is talking about having an adventure mode to tell the lore behind the game, which this could be that form gameplay that will help the player base basically come back and continue playing the game. But other game modes as well that would make the player stick to the whole ecosystem would really, really help change that perception of it just being a DeFi protocol in a farming wrapper. Next is also that the mini games, of course, because there are mini games, they're not complex enough, and this might not help promote user retention. So it also might attract the wrong people, or basically those who are just looking to extract from the ecosystem. So similar to the solution a while ago, I think if you add the game mode, but this time to highlight social interaction better, like to highlight the faction aspect to it. So factions seem to be the only aspect in the game right now that could, if you add a game to it, could easily add complexity to the ecosystem. So the game that I have, or the mechanic that I have in mind, is like maybe there's a free for all land where factions can own, or like have a greater share of farmable land by doing certain tasks regularly. So it's like the how far your influence of your faction could be, and like if you're a member of that faction, then you could have certain rewards, like you can stake more seeds in it, or you can plant more seeds in it and stuff like that. Like having that mechanic could add complexity to the game as well. And lastly, like the goal is to teach users about DeFi protocols, but that can be hard if users are not willing to spend money, like to acquire those tokens in the ecosystem. So I know they have a practice mode, but it's not currently released at the moment. But if that practice mode has like a use of an off-chain currency that could basically interact with off-chain versions of the DeFi protocols in order to simulate that feature, then but just the trading and crafting aspect isn't implemented to promote players from to funnel players basically from the free-to-play aspect to the play-to-earn aspect, then that could help both player conversion and of course still have their goal of teaching DeFi protocols to the broader audience. And like these are three risks that I've seen or thought of when regards to DeFi Land.
Great, great coverage of the risks there, and how kind of some of the gaming components are weak. And have they said how much they're focusing on creating a heavier game experience, or are they still really focusing on having the DeFi aspect being a really major part of it?
Like what I foresee is that they want a lot of these smaller mini games so that it's like a whole ecosystem in itself. And they're looking to add more games. Like I mentioned a while ago, they also looked at adventure mode, which they haven't really released a lot of information about at the moment. But having a lot of these mini games could help prevent prevent users from just coming in when they need to and exit or extract value. Like it helps in attracting a lot of users, but then you need to have a main game component inside that would help make users stay. So I see the mini games as a way of, hey, I like these little arcade games. These are something that I know I'm good at. I could use to enter the ecosystem, and then I earn tokens. And then, okay, what do I do with these tokens? If there's a main game loop outside the mini games, that could help add utility to that token outside from just having DeFi protocols interact with it, then I think that's something that could make users stay inside the whole economy.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you so much for staying throughout this entire video. If you're interested to learn more and you want to join the community, do check out our Discord, check out our Academy, and you get to watch these videos for free as well, without any ads. And also grab the book that I've talked about earlier on. The book summarizes a lot of what we're trying to build, what we're trying to design, and the different aspects that can be changed during the entire design process. We also just launched Econteric. Econteric is really economics plus esoteric because this space is so complicated and so difficult. What we want to do is to make it easier for anyone to come and learn and be part of this system. So in Econteric, we are breaking down the different analytics and different data to give you more insights to understand the robustness from a very fundamental level of the health of this ecosystem. So check out econteric.com and I'll see you there. Bye!